So today I played Orcust. Took it out of the binder for the first time in a little while, and I went 3-0 at locals with it. My list is based off of Ben P's list from last weekend's extravaganza. He got 9th and just bubbled outside of top cut of 8. So there's some minor changes, but it's kind of loosely the same. So play 3 Girsu, one of the best starters in the deck. Lets you foolish, and is if it doesn't get impermed or Veilered, it is a 1-card Galatea. Play the 1 Brass Bombard, kind of standard in Orcust. It's just a good extender. Normal summon it, make Lane Karibo, and then you can summon 1 from hand. And that's, again, if you have the right cards, it's a 1-card Galatea. 2 Symbol Skeleton, making ding on your opponent's turn feels really good. 3 Nightmare. I may bring it down to 2 at some point, but 3 was pretty good. I found myself citing 1 out in games 2 and 3 today, and I didn't really miss it, so 2 to 3 is pretty good. And then the 1 World Wand. In previous builds I used to run 2, but with the Nightmares it's pretty bricky, so I didn't really care for it. So that's it for the main deck Orcust cards. And then I played a Phantom Knights package, kind of small. 2 Boots for a double Fog Blade, the 1 Cloak to set up the double Fog Blade, and then the 2 Torn Scales. Torn Scales is pretty good as an alternative normal summon, since you can send an Orcust card from your hand for cost and automatically set up a Tea play, but also it's a free extender if you banish one of your other Phantom Knights from your grave, and it's just a free extending Dark Monster. So that's it for the Phantom Knights. And then I played a small danger package. This is where Ben and I's list differed a little bit. He didn't play any of the dangers. They're just good extenders. So I play 1 each of the graveyard ones. 1 Tsuchinoko, 1 Jackalope, and 1 Chupacabra. Chup comes up a little bit for rank 4 plays, and then of course they're all just really good extenders. And then for hand traps, main 3 Nib. Orcust can be a little bit fragile in that, you know, if your normal play, if your normal summon gets stopped, you can probably just end your turn if you don't have enough extenders. So main decking this is kind of nice because you can just nib your opponent's board and potentially have a second turn instead of getting OTK'd. 2 Ash Blossom. It's Ash Blossom. It's a great card. And then 3 Skullmeister. This won me a couple games today. This is an incredible hand trap. There's a ton of graveyard effects in the meta right now, so it's just really, really good. That is it for the monster lineup. For draw power, 1 Allure and 2 Returns. Another part where Ben and I's list differ. He was playing 1 Return and 3 Allures. I'm personally not a big fan of Allure of Darkness, just because banishing certain cards at certain times and not having control of that is not great. But also Return can send a monster from your field to grave to draw, and then that can set up other plays for later on in the turn. 1 Hornet Drones, just kind of good for extending. It was a last minute inclusion today, just kind of randomly threw it in there, and it did pretty well for me. 1 Babel, really, really standard in Orcust. 1 Monster Reborn for extending. 1 Rhoda, which I never saw today, but it's still a good card. 1 Called By, even at 1, it's still a good card if you see it, you just don't see it as often. 1 Reasoning, which I didn't see a single time today, unfortunately. 1 Foolish Burial, and then 2 Droplets. Another difference between Ben and I's list. He was playing 2 Talents. I don't own Talents, but I own Droplets, so I was playing those. It's kind of free to send your Orcust monsters from field or hand to grave to set up further plays, especially if you already have Babel up. That is it for the spells. For traps, for the Phantom Knights, play 2 Fogblade and 1 Shade Brigadine. Shade with Chupacabra or Skullmeister or Girsu can give you a time 3 Redoer or Abyss Dweller, so it's just good for rank 4 play. 1 Imperm mained, came up a couple times. 1 Crescendo, which is pretty standard, and then 2 Ice Dragon's Prison, which I did not like in the list. You frequently get locked into Darks during your opponent's turn, and having this set is not a threat to your opponent if you're locked into Darks and they don't play any Darks. So if I'm going to play it, I'm either going to cut it or I'm going to side it. Don't know what I'm going to do on the future with that one. So that's it for the main. It's 45, which cutting those 2 out would be 43, and I would be fine with that. For the extra deck, for the rank 4s, as I said earlier, Dweller and Redoer, both just really good cards. The 2 Dingirsu, which is probably pretty standard in Orcust. That's it for the Xyz, for rank 1s, 1 Kagari because of drones, and the Link Karibo. For the 2s, the 1 Union Carrier, the 2 Galateas, the 1 IP, and the 1 Phoenix. All just genuinely good cards in the deck. And then for the rank 3s, Bardiche, Unicorn, Longirsu, and then the rank 4 Access Code. Probably the biggest extra deck spot that is different between Ben and I's list. He was playing Borosword. I prefer Access Code. I can get 3 pops if I have Phoenix and Carrier Engrave, but also Borosword requires me to have another monster on field, and sometimes you just can't have that many on field before you get nibbed. So I think Access Code is probably better in some situations. And then side, played 3 Droll today, didn't come up once. 2 Lancias, also didn't come up. Back row hate, 2 Twisters, and a Duster. None of those came up either, unfortunately. The 3rd Droplet and the 2nd Imperm. 2 Dimensional Barriers. This came up a few times today, kind of saved me a little bit. 1 Red Reboot, and then the 2 Evenlies. Evenlies I didn't see, but Reboot I did a little bit, so that is it.